Klinsman believes playground football is key to early success. No, really? Well, that'd be nice. But really, I mean, could this article be even more obvious? And this is another Gold.com article, by the way.
This is such a great idea in theory. More of our youth should be playing playground soccer, and day in, day out, go out and play 4 or 5 hours of soccer. A lot of our youth does that with other sports. They go out and they'll play a couple hours of basketball with their friends, or they'll play football. They may kick a soccer ball around. But if I go to my neighborhood, which is a rather populated neighborhood, and just the surrounding areas, I would be surprised if I could find 2 to 3 soccer players within that populace.
Right.
Of all ages, too. Not just talking about youth, but of all ages. And you know how difficult it is to be the only soccer player in your entire neighborhood with a group of friends and say, hey, let's play soccer, and they all laugh at you because, oh, no, we're going to play basketball, we're going to play football, we're going to do this, we're going to do that.
Right.
You're a minority. You really are.
Right.
And it's not easy to get these playground pickup games started. And in all honesty, what's going to happen if they want to start doing something like this is that the clubs are going to have to start almost like a community pickup game day, if you will.
Right.
Say, hey, Fridays at our park, let's get a lot of our players from our teams out there. We'll just do pickup games, have them bring their friends. Blah, 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 stuff like that.
Right.
That's the only way it's going to improve.
All right, well, but I I agree with you. I think the whole thing about this, there are several factors going on here. Listen, I'm not criticizing Ryan Dempsey for this article, because I think this article is fine. I think, however, it points out things that, not only been pointed out on this show 100 times, but other shows 100 times. We all know. I mean, people have been talking about this forever. We've had, how many guests have we had on this show? From Tony Santa to so many others who said, hey, kids need to start playing this game on their own out on the playground. And that's how it happens in other countries. But here, there's some things that make that kind of difficult. Number one, there aren't a whole lot of places to play because, there's not a whole lot of grass in some parts of this country, number one. But, I mean, if you look real hard, you can find it. But you know what? I have a 10-year-old. And before he was 10, and even now when he is 10, I don't want him going to the park, which is, about 300 yards from our house. And we have a nice park, and there's grass there, and kids can play soccer. I don't want my 10-year-old walking to the park all by himself. Maybe I'm a little bit, paranoid. I don't think I am. But they're creeps out there. They're creepy people, and they hang out at parks, and they try to take advantage of kids. And the world is a different place now. Or maybe it isn't, and maybe it's just more well-known that you have 10 child molesters in your neighborhood, because you can look it up, right? But I didn't know that before. And once I did know, I don't want my 5-year-old or my 10-year-old, now that he's 10, walking around this neighborhood all by himself without any supervision. But when I was a kid, hell, man, we left the house and shut the door, and we did whatever the hell we wanted until it was time to come home for dinner. Well, that just doesn't happen. This world has changed. So I don't see this being a viable thing. I think we're kind of stuck with the system that we have. And we're going to have to make it work the best we can. College soccer and high school, I mean, we're not going to be able to disconnect soccer from school, which is what Klinsman is talking about in much of this article. It's just not going to happen.
Like I said, it's either going to have to start at the club level, or some people are going to have to start organizing some after-school programs, which I'm surprised really haven't taken off. I mean, that's an obvious one. There's a lot of parents who aren't going to get home. You have latchkey kids.
Yep.
Why not start a program where you get the kids out in elementary school and you just play fun games that, while they might not be soccer based, but they are developing soccer skills. And you can change it up, sort of like playing like a soccer version of basketball.
And you
can only use you can't use your hands, but you can use any other body part to try to score.
Right. And we had our friend Jared Skinner, who had a great idea to do with all these abandoned tennis courts, which is, form some sort of organized, supervised setup where kids could, we could transform these tennis courts into sort of these,
Futsal courts.
Yeah. Futsal courts, and that would get kids the opportunity to play some soccer after school, but it would have to be supervised, because I wouldn't let my kid go 400, 500, 300 yards down the street, through the woods, and into the park to play futsal with God knows who. I don't know who. And if it's supervised, then yeah, hell, I'd let them do it, but Not supervised, I worry.
That's the thing. You know, how do you have to get all these people to supervise. And if you're not going to charge, these people have to volunteer their time, and that's the big problem right now.
Then you got to upkeep the court too.
Yep, you have to upkeep the court somehow. Find sponsors to do that. I don't know. Yep. There's a lot of work to be done, but it's not the same world as it used to be.
No, it's not.
Like you said, you know, when I was a kid, I was able to ride my bike up and down the street miles away.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
When my parents were young, my dad used to run out into the woods and show up for dinner.
Yeah. That's how we did it. Yep.
Things change.
Yeah.
You know. You won't see many parents, especially in the rural areas, that will allow their kids to do so.
Yeah. It's sad. It is really sad, but that is the world we live in. And in some communities, kids still go outside despite the danger, and that is what it is as well. When he is older, then yeah, sure, I'll have a little bit more. I'll feel better that he won't be, hurried into a car and all kinds of horrible things can happen these days, especially, as I said, when you know who the creeps are, at least in the local community, near the park. They don't live in this particular community, but they live near the park, which is about 500 yards away. Anyhow, okay, enough on that for now, unless you have anything else to add.
No?
Okay. So, anyhow, that was a whole four-part series that's going on in Goal.com with Klinsmann. I hope it gets better than this one. Not that, listen, okay, I just think that a lot of people that already read Goal.com have taken up that whole topic already.
It's nothing against the author.
Nothing at all.
This is what Klinsmann said.
This is what he wanted to talk about.
You have to report with what he talks about.
Exactly.
So the article was fine.
Yep.
It's nothing groundbreaking.
And I think that maybe Klinsmann thinks he's telling a lot of us something new, but he is really not. All right. On the ESPN Press Pass, host Dan Thomas was talking with Steve Nicol, formerly of the New England Revolution. And Steve Nicol said on the particular show about L.A., and then Jason Christ kind of, supported in many ways unknowingly Steve Nicol's comments on the LA Galaxy. He said, you know what, they have the talent, they have the money, and they have the way MLS is set up. You have to know the rules, and these guys can manipulate the rules to help them. And then I'm going to give Jason Christ's comment too. Jason Christ says, it's puzzling even for me to figure out how the Galaxy is affording all these players. At some point, I can only worry about so many things, but I've always been in favor of making all the rules more black and white and putting everybody on the same page. And, what they're both intimating there and what they're both saying is that, MLS is either allowing, let's separate them. Because Nichols is saying the MLS lets LA bend the rules, and then, they manipulate the rules, and then MLS says, okay, that's how we're going to deal with it now. Mm-hmm. It's a whole new DP situation now that you've decided to do it.
Beckham system.
Right, exactly. While Jason Christ is flat out saying, I can't figure out how they're affording all these players. Which, I mean, aren't the salaries going to be published every year as they always are, Brett?
And see, that's the thing. Just because that's what's written down in the book doesn't necessarily mean that's what the player is getting paid.
So you think MLS is sneaking around this somehow?
Oh no! You know what? MLS is very sneaky and very closed-minded when it comes to negotiating deals. Like every time you read blah 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 signs a contract with MLS per MLS, the way they do things. It's just they don't post the details.
No, they don't ever.
But then what happens is later on the player union posts what every player is making at a base pay and what they're making at a quote-unquote compensated pay.
That's correct.
And a lot of the time, and the thing is they're not doing anything that other teams can't do.
Right.
That's the key right here.
Yes.
LA has been able to bend the rules at times, but MLS has followed suit and said this is how we're going to do it, like you said.
Right.
But
give them a pass.
They're basically taking the loopholes that are there, such as the compensated pay, and going with it and building their team off of that.
But everybody can do that.
Everybody can do that. Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
You know, Stevie said that they have the talent, they have the money. I think those things go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
I think a team with money that's willing to spend money will certainly have the talent. You know, and I think Stevie is a little bit bitter striking because he had to produce a team off of pennies.
Right, and that's the key point. You just made it right there. I mean, he later goes on, Nichols says, they have talent and they have money. Well, guess what, Stevie? Bob Kraft has a lot of money, too. You know what? Mr. Kraft has lots of money. He just isn't willing to spend it. That's not LA Galaxy's problem. That's, there are teams that are willing to spend it. And there are teams that are going to monitor, believe me. They're all out there closely watching what LA's doing, what New York is doing, what Seattle is doing. They're all have an eye on that. And they're all playing under basically the same rules. The only point I will make, and I will agree with Stevie on this, is, okay, so LA Galaxy decides maybe they want a fourth DP 3 years from now. Do they get away with it? They might. They might, because MLS will say, okay, all right, well, now LA Galaxy is adding a fourth DP, or they've gotten this great deal, and we just can't pass on it, so we're going to allow LA Galaxy to do it, and guess what, everybody else? You can do it too now. Now, does that happen? Absolutely. All right. The only thing that I would say outside of all that is that we are going to get to see the salaries published again later on. And somebody should just mail a copy of it to Jason Kreis, and hopefully he'll be somewhat, comforted by the fact that they did get away with it.
The base pay makes it all legal. It's the compensated aspect.
But they post the compensated too.
They do post the compensated. I know. And when you look at the compensated, a good portion of the teams are beyond the salary cap.
Sure.
Because the base pay is what really matters for the 20 players that count towards the salary cap.
Right. And you can compensate a player a whole lot of ways too.
When you have a team like LA, Seattle, New York, who are willing to spend the money. Seattle's the biggest money maker of the trio. Maybe LA close behind.
Yep.
But if you have the teams like that, they're willing to pay the compensation. Although I don't know how we really lumped. I think Stevie really only lumped Seattle in there because they have the money.
Right.
They haven't really gone out and spent the big money.
No.
They've spent some money on designated players, but not like the Henrys or the Beckhams or the Keens.
Not like LA and New York.
Or the Marquez,
Right.
They went out there and they bought some other players. And, and the smaller markets who are struggling in comparison as far as, the money making or that can spend the money, they've gone out and bought designated players, but they bought them at a cheaper rate that aren't as well-known or superstar status.
Right.
So everybody has the same advantage. Everybody can play the same rules. What it just seems to me, out of the only thing that Stevie or Jason may have a gripe with, is that it seems with teams, especially LA, that MLS tends to bend in their favor, and then they lead the way into the new future.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. And then actually, this was an article. I should probably give him credit. Simon Borg. Again, this is MLSsoccer.com. So a lot of MLSsoccer.com and Goal.com articles today. Now, that is the show for today and for the week. And we'll be back next week where the whole host of other commentary and discussion. All right. For the Straight Red Card, for Brett and Derek, this is the end of the show. Goodbye.